The ocean was calm when he pushed off from the shore. No storm clouds on the horizon. No warnings on the radio. Just an endless expanse of blue water stretching out to meet the sky. 76 days later, when a passing ship finally spotted his drifting boat, he was barely recognizable. He weighed almost nothing. His skin was burned raw by the relentless sun, and his eyes held a look that the seasoned rescuers couldn't quite explain. He had survived the open sea, with practically nothing. But what he told them afterward, the story he shared, was enough to make even the most hardened sailors fall silent. It all started as a routine journey, a small, reliable boat. Basic supplies for a short trip. The man wasn't reckless. He was an experienced boater who knew the risks. But somewhere far from any sight of land, the engine sputtered and died. The radio went silent soon after. His boat began to drift, slowly at first, then helplessly, carried by currents he couldn't fight. The days blurred into an agonizing cycle of sun and cold. The sun punished him during the day, and the biting cold tormented him at night. His fresh water ran out quickly. Food became a distant, taunting memory. By the second week, hunger had transformed him. He became primal. He learned to survive on whatever the ocean offered. He drank the precious rainwater when it came, catching every drop he could. He learned to snatch fish from the water with his bare hands when luck was on his side. He trained himself to ignore the constant pain, the hunger gnawing at his stomach, the sores on his skin. He started talking to himself, just to hear the sound of a human voice, to remind himself that he was still there, still human. The nights were the worst part. Out there, in the pitch-black darkness, the ocean was never silent. The waves slapped against the hull of his small boat, a constant, rhythmic sound, like something trying to get in. Strange shadows moved beneath the surface, shapes he couldn't identify, fueling his paranoia. He never truly slept, catching only minutes of rest at a time, always jolted awake by a sudden noise or a lurch of the boat. But then, something happened that shocked even him. A man already pushed to the very edge of sanity. Around the third week, he realized something terrifying. He wasn't alone out there. It wasn't a physical presence, no. Other boats, no other people. It was a mental one. He began to feel as if he was being watched, not by sharks circling below or birds flying above, but by something vast, ancient, and patient. He said the sea itself felt aware. It felt conscious. He noticed a strange pattern. Every time he felt the despair creeping in, every time he thought about just giving up and letting the end come, the water around him would grow rougher, more yagi. But every time he found a flicker of will to live, every time he fought back against the hopelessness, the sea would calm down. He tried to rationalize it. It had to be dehydration, he told himself. Hallucinations. His mind was breaking under the strain. Then the voices started. At first, they were just whispers carried on the wind. Indistinct murmurs he could barely make out. But soon, they became clear. They were familiar, even comforting. They spoke to him mostly at night, their words weaving through the sound of the waves. They told him to rest, to let go, to stop fighting so hard. They promised peace. If he would just surrender to the water. Prayed. He screamed into the void. He covered his ears, trying to block them out. But the ocean and the voices never stopped. One night, exhausted beyond fear, beyond reason, he did something unexpected. It spoke back. He didn't scream or curse. He spoke to the sea itself. He told it that he wanted to live. He begged, not to God, not to fate, but directly to the vast, dark water surrounding him. He pleaded for his life. The next morning, everything changed. Rain fell for hours, a steady downpour that allowed him to fill every container he had. A large school of fish swarmed near his boat, so close he could easily catch them. For the first time in weeks, a genuine feeling of hope washed over him. From that day forward, his survival felt less like a struggle and more like a strange negotiation. He stopped trying to understand it and started to listen. He followed instincts he couldn't explain. He would suddenly feel an urge to move his boat, using his makeshift sail, and he would obey. He would feel a sense of stillness, a message to wait, and he would stay put. He stopped, questioning the feeling of being guided, and slowly, impossibly, he endured. When the cargo ship finally spotted him on the 76th day, the crew prepared themselves for the worst. They expected to find a broken, traumatized man, raving and incoherent. Instead, they found someone who was unnervingly calm. He was quiet, almost detached from the situation. As they pulled him aboard, he didn't cry with relief or shout with joy. He just kept staring back at the water, as if he were leaving a part of himself behind. In the hospital, doctors were baffled. They said his physical survival defied all medical logic. Psychologists attributed his strange story to severe trauma and prolonged sensory deprivation. But when reporters later asked him the inevitable question, "How did you survive for so long with nothing?" he didn't talk about catching fish or collecting rainwater. He gave an answer that no one expected. He looked at them with those haunted eyes and said, "The ocean decides who comes back." That was his truth. He genuinely believes the sea let him go, not because he was strong or clever, but because he finally learned to listen to it. To this day, he refuses to go anywhere near the coast. He says the water remembers him. And sometimes, late at night, when the world is quiet, he swears he can still hear the waves calling his name. So it leaves us with a profound question. Was his incredible ordeal simply a story of human endurance against the odds, colored by hallucinations brought on by extreme suffering? Or did he tap into something deeper, something ancient and mysterious about the sea that we don't, and perhaps can't, understand? What do you think happened out there in the middle of nowhere? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching.